Howdy folks, Jamboree here. Steven Spielberg is a name that's going to crop up frequently on this show because, well, he really liked to utilise puppetry in his films, whether he was making a serious drama or a wacky comedy. One such example is Jaws. When shark attacks start happening in the peaceful harbour town of Amity, local police chief Brody wants to do the right thing and make sure that everyone is safe. But Amity's mayor refuses to close the beach because he's determined to make money from summer tourists. After the shark almost kills Brody's son, the mayor agrees to let a team take down the great white. So Brody, along with an oceanographer called Matt Hooper and a shark hunter by the name of Quint, board a boat called the Orca to set out on a quest to slay the shark. Before Jaws came along, monster flicks were seen as cheap drive-in movies and exploitation films. B-movie filmmakers relished in relying on the formula. Sure, there were successful mainstream monster movies back then, but none of them made waves in the zeitgeist like Jaws. This was the Star Wars of monster movies. Unlike other horror films, Jaws doesn't center on a group of Hollywood heroes who all look like supermodels or a bunch of annoying drunk horny teenagers, although they do make a cameo in the beginning. No, the protagonists in this film are everyday seaside town residents, making for much more identifiable and well-rounded characters. Spielberg knew that the real star of this movie would be the shark, so he didn't worry about trying to find chiseled hunks with recognizable names to play the heroes. No, he focused on character actors with real chops.
Give me your hands. Dogfish. You got a $5,000 net. You got $2,000 worth of fishing, and along comes Mr. Whitey. By the time he's finished with that net, looks like a kiddie scissor class has cut it up for a paper doll. You got city hands, Mr. Hooper. Been counting money all your life.
All right. Hey, I don't need this. I don't need this working class hero crap.
You're not going to do this aboard the ship, are you, Mr. Quint?
This unconventional casting results in characters looking their parts. We know cops, scientists and fishermen who look like these three, because Spielberg chose actors who could slide comfortably into their roles. It creates authentic performances, which adds a realism to the movie, and that makes the horror all the more believable. These three all have their own reasons for hopping on the boat. Quint is in it for the money and pride, Brody wants to protect his family and be a responsible police chief, while Matt is just doing what he believes is right, knows his knowledge of sharks can be used for good, and hopes to prove that he is a brave man under his nerdy exterior. They all have something to bring to the team too, thanks to their backgrounds in science, fishing, and heroic duty. Each sailor varies in personality, class, and personal ethics, so of course egos are going to clash. Tension is on this ship. Sometimes they even come close to breaking out into a fight. Heck, we even wonder who will kill them first, the giant shark or each other. But as their sea adventure goes on, they learn to get along more, singing songs together and sharing life stories.
Look at that. It's a bull shark. It scraped me when I was taking samples.
I got something for you. That's the thresher. You see that? Chief Thresher's tail.
Thresher?
It's a shark.
You want a drink? Drink to your leg?
I'll drink to your leg.
Okay, so we drink our legs.
Now, 3 Jaws puppets were built by Robert A. Matty for the film. People actually doubted that this puppet would ever be pulled off, insisting that it would be impossible to build, but Matty proved everyone wrong. I'm not going to naively sit here and say that the shark looks incredibly realistic, because it doesn't. But it is testament to how something considered impossible can actually be possible, and it's a well-crafted puppet. You can definitely tell it's a puppet on screen, but the work shines through. When you look at that shark, you can see how much effort Robert and his crew put into it. They were trying. And when you look inside of it to see all those intricate little motors, you realize that this is one hell of a project. Spielberg shoots around the fact that Jaws doesn't look exactly like a real shark by not showing too much of the creature on screen, which makes Jaws even scarier, because we can't entirely read what it looks like. Plus, because the animatronic puppets rarely cooperated, as the ocean waves screwed up their motors, they became unusable for most of the film, so Spielberg relied more on tricks to imply that the shark was there. Actors were attached to cables to make them look like they were being dragged underwater to their deaths, and oozing blood clouds around the victims create the illusion that they are being mutilated. This is actually scarier than seeing what the shark is really doing, because our imaginations are picturing something far worse. But one of the biggest tools for implying Jaws was present, John Williams' fantastic theme for the shark. A classic piece that's become a staple of indicating something is coming closer. Because John plays this track whenever Jaws is near, we become nervous as soon as we hear it, as it's a sign that someone might die. For some scenes, he doesn't play the theme before the shark attacks. So when Jaws does finally burst from the waters, it's all the more surprising and heart-pounding.
Slow ahead. I can go slow ahead. Come on down and chum some of this shit. You're gonna need a bigger boat.
In all honesty though, the creepiest scene to me is the part where Hooper is inspecting one of the shark victims' corpses. This is a dude who is more than familiar with sharks, yet this dead, mutilated body is painting a shark that even he seems disturbed by. His terrified reaction to what this shark can do is enough to make us scared of what Jaws is.
The height and weight of the victim can only be estimated from the partial remains.
To conclude, Jaws is a classic horror thriller and a landmark of new wave American cinema. It reshaped the public's idea of what a blockbuster movie could be, proving that even monster films had the potential to be intelligent and moving works of cinema. But it's also a movie that made people afraid of going into the ocean. It terrified audiences that much. This is a true gem in Spielberg's career. Go check it out if you haven't yet. So, what do you think of Jaws? Let me know in the comments section below. I've been Jamboree and I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, then feel free to click like, perhaps share this video with family and friends, and maybe subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Also, if you'd like to support my channel, then consider making a monthly pledge to my Patreon in return for awesome rewards. Thank you. So, what am I going to be reviewing in the next episode of Puppet Panic? Well, that's going to be a Halloween special. So I've decided to talk about John Carpenter's The Thing. Cheerio, folks.